Who would have thought? Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. A rookie shaking up the game in such a massive way. Picture this. Over 20,700 fans filling the stands to catch Clark's final regular season game. That's some history being written right there. But here's the real question. Can Clark and the Fever carry that fire into the playoffs? Buckle up, because we're diving into the full story. From the highs and lows of the regular season to the epic clash ahead with the Connecticut Sun. Let's break it all down and... Look, there's rivalry, strategy, competitiveness. Caitlin Clark's final regular season game was against the Washington Mystics, and wow, what a game. But here's the twist. Clark only played 19 minutes. Yup, you heard that right. Some might wonder, why not let her play more, especially in the last game? Well, that's where Christy Sid's brilliance shines. This was a masterful strategy, saving Clark's energy for something much bigger, the playoffs. In just those 19 minutes, Clark managed to put up 8 points, dish out 8 assists, and snag 5 rebounds. Not bad for less than half a game, right? It's a testament to her efficiency, but the real story isn't in the numbers. It's in the message. This move shows the Fever are playing the long game, thinking strategically with the playoffs in mind. It's the sign of a mature, playoff-ready team. And let's be real. After carrying the team all season long, a little rest could be exactly what Clark needs. It gave her time to recharge, study the game from the sidelines, and mentally gear up for what's coming next. The Fever have their eyes on the prize, and this move signals they're ready for the challenge ahead. Let's talk about evolution, shall we? Because the Indiana Fever have put on a masterclass in growth this season. It's like we've witnessed 2 completely different teams. The one that struggled early on and the one that's now storming into the playoffs. Remember how the Fever started? It was rough. They had a 1-6 record in their first 7 games, and a lot of people were quick to write them off, thinking it was going to be another year of disappointment. But that's when the magic happened, my friends. In the last few weeks, we've seen a totally transformed team. The players are more confident, more in sync, and they're playing basketball that's a joy to watch. It's like all the puzzle pieces finally clicked into place. The team that began the season with uncertainty is now playoff bound with momentum on their side. You can see this transformation right on the court. The ball moves more fluidly, the players communicate with just a glance, and the defense has become rock solid. It's the kind of chemistry you can't force. It has to develop naturally, and it feels like it finally has for the Fever. Of course, Caitlin Clark has been at the heart of this evolution. She hasn't just elevated her own game throughout the season. She's made everyone around her better. Her impact goes far beyond the box score. But it's not just Clark. Kelsey Mitchell has been on fire, playing some of her best basketball. And Aaliyah Boston is a force in the paint, dominating under the basket. Even the bench players are stepping up, bringing energy and making key contributions. This team is clicking on all cylinders, and it's clear that they're peaking at just the right time heading into the playoffs. It's time to dive into the playoff showdown between the Indiana Fever and the Connecticut Sun, and buckle up, because this series is shaping up to be a nail-biter. First, let's break down the matchup. The 6th-seeded Fever are going head-to-head with the 3rd-seeded Sunshore. It may look like a big gap in the standings, but don't be fooled. This Fever team is not the same one we saw at the start of the season. The Connecticut Sun are a seasoned, playoff-experienced squad, with stars like Alyssa Thomas and Janai Carrington leading the charge. But here's the thing. The Fever aren't showing any signs of intimidation. In fact, I'd say the Fever have a solid shot at upsetting the Sun and advancing. Why? 2 words. Clark and Mitchell. Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell are playing lights-out basketball right now. And it seems like the Sun don't have an answer for them. Clark, even as a rookie, has been playing with the poise and vision of a seasoned vet. Her court vision, ability to pull off impossible passes, and that deadly 3-point shot are going to be a nightmare for Connecticut's defense. If the Sun want to contain the Fever, they'll need to pull out all the stops. And we can't forget about Kelsey Mitchell. What a season she's had. Mitchell is playing the best basketball of her career, and she's heading into the playoffs with something to prove. Her backcourt partnership with Caitlin Clark is enough to make any defense in the league nervous. But what adds even more fuel to this matchup is the rivalry factor. Remember at the start of the season when Dijanai Carrington taunted Clark? Well, now they're set to face off in the playoffs. That's the kind of storyline we live for in sports. Let's rewind for a second. At the start of the season, Carrington taunted Clark during a game, making gestures and trying to get in her head. The moment sparked controversy. Some called Carrington's actions unsportsmanlike, while others saw it as just part of the game, the kind of trash talk that brings a little extra drama. Now, months later, they're about to meet on the biggest stage. This is more than just a playoff series. It's personal, and you can bet both sides are fired up for the showdown. But now, my friends, the context is completely different. This isn't just another regular season game. It's the playoffs. This is when stars shine brightest, when every possession can determine the fate of an entire series. And at the heart of it all, we've got Caitlin Clark and Janai Carrington going head-to-head once again. What makes this rivalry so intriguing is the contrast between the two. On one side, there's Clark, the sensational rookie, breaking records and drawing huge crowds. On the other, Carrington, an experienced player, known for her gritty defense and fearless, never-back-down attitude. The big question is, how will this rivalry unfold in a playoff series? Will we see more taunting from Carrington? How will Clark handle the added pressure? One thing's for sure, all eyes will be locked on this matchup. Every time Clark has the ball and Carrington is on her, the tension will rise. It's the kind of duel that'll keep us all holding our breath. But here's the best part. This rivalry has the potential to elevate both of their games. Clark can use it as fuel to prove why she's the league's rising star, while Carrington has the chance to show that experience and toughness still go a long way in the playoffs. In the end, this rivalry is fantastic for women's basketball. It generates buzz, creates storylines, and draws people in. It's the kind of thing that can take a good playoff series and turn it into an unforgettable one. There's an incredible story unfolding in this Fever postseason. It's the playoff debut of none other than Kelsey Mitchell. Yeah, believe it or not, this is the first time Mitchell will step onto the court in a WNBA playoff series. And it's not because she lacked the talent. Mitchell has been one of the Fever's standout players for years. The team just couldn't get there. But now, finally, it's her time to shine on the league's biggest stage. Let's be honest, Mitchell totally deserves this moment. She's been the heart and soul of this Fever team for so long, giving her all even when things weren't going well. Now, she's got the chance to show the world what she's made of when the stakes are at their highest. But what's even more impressive is how Mitchell has stepped into a leadership role. It's not just about her game anymore. She's helping guide this young team, especially rookies like Caitlin Clark, preparing them mentally for the intense road ahead. Mitchell is showing the kind of veteran leadership that will make a difference in these playoffs. This is her time, and she's making sure the Fever are ready to rise with her. Connecticut Sun vs. Indiana Fever WNBA Playoff Series Preview. The number 3 seed takes on the number 6 seed. The Fever finished the regular season third in the league in three-point percentage at 35.6%. Clark and teammate Kelsey Mitchell were two of the most prolific shooters from deep, knocking down 34.4% and 40.2%, respectively. Indiana flourished in the second half of the season. The team went 9-4 over the final 13 games, good for fourth best in the league. The Fever led the league in scoring, field goal percentage, and three-point percentage during that span. As fantastic as that sounds, the Sun are built to stop what Clark and Indiana do best. Connecticut finished the regular season second in the WNBA in opponent three-point percentage and held Clark in check better than any other team in the league. Caitlin Clark 2024 WNBA season stats. Connecticut Sun vs. Indiana Fever prediction by WNBA experts. Maybe they wrong. Clark's heroics won't be enough. Though it might take some eyeballs off the playoffs, Clark won't be able to overcome Connecticut's defense. It's clear the Sun have a game plan and the personnel to stop what she does best. The Fever will make it a series, though. They're too good to go quietly. Clark and Mitchell can get hot from deep, and 6'5" center Aaliyah Boston can dominate the paint in stretches. It won't be a sweep, but ultimately, the Sun will be too much for Indiana to overcome in Clark's WNBA playoff debut. Prediction: Connecticut wins the series 2-1. Look, there's rivalry, strategy, competitiveness. So hit that subscribe button because we've got everything we love about basketball.